Hi guys and welcome to my channel. I'm Vidya and today I'm going to share with you all the apps that I've found useful during my whole pregnancy journey. So starting from preconception to pregnancy to labor and delivery. Yes, I did use an app during labor and to after the baby was born. So these are some of the apps that I really found useful. You can find all of these apps or equivalents of these apps both on the Apple Store and the Android Store, and most of them are free. The only one that I paid for was the Wonder Weeks app. To start off with, I used Pink Pad, which is a period tracker app. Before I got pregnant, I used this for many years because I used to have irregular periods, so I found this very helpful. This just keeps a track of your periods and how heavy your flow was, if you're late, if you're early, and all those things. So this is basically a calendar, and to just give you an example of how it works, if you open up the date for today and say you got your period today and your flow was light, just say light and it automatically adds flow for the next 3 days. So I go back to the month and it shows me that I have my period from the 23rd to the 26th of the month. And similarly, you can record many other little pieces of information, like you can put in if you're spotting or if you have any mood swings or your weight or your temperature or any other random notes that you want. So this is a very handy little app. I used to make notes in this all the time so I could tell my doctor how late I was and how bad my period was. If I had some days with very heavy cramps, I would make a note of those as well. So it's a very handy little app. I haven't been using this recently because I haven't gotten my period back yet, but I use this all the time. The next couple of apps that I want to talk about is Babycenter and What to Expect app. These two are really helpful during your pregnancy, and I used to like the Babycenter app more than the What to Expect app. So I'm going to show you this one first. So this is a very useful app for pregnant women, because once you sign up, you put in your due date in it, and then it gives you all the information that's relevant to your pregnancy. Like for example, if you're 5 weeks pregnant, it shows you your baby's like development at 5 weeks. So it may tell you that your baby's developing its heart or lungs. So it's very interesting to know what's going on inside your body. Another thing I like about this app is the birth club. So when you sign up, for example, I was part of the September 2016 birth club, and this is just a group of all the women that are due in September 2016. This was really valuable to me because then I could connect with all the women that are going through the same symptoms that I was going through. Like if I had heartburn or nausea, I could come on here and see that other women are going through the same things, and I could know what they are doing to make themselves feel a little better. So all that kind of information is on here, and if you have a doubt, you can just make a post on here and lots of people will come forth and give you replies. So this is my favorite part about this app. Also, I use this even now after my baby is born, because it gives me information on how my baby is developing now. So I put in the date of my baby's birth into this app, and it says my son is 7 months old and 3 weeks old. It gives me kind of an update on how he's growing and what I should be doing during these weeks, and little tips and tricks that might be useful at this point in time. So I just love this app. I go on this app all the time. Even now, every week I make sure to check in at least once or twice and see if I can find something. The next app that I want to talk about is the What to Expect app. This is pretty much similar to the Babycenter app. They both serve the same purpose of letting you know what's going on in the pregnancy and connecting you with other moms. So this was like my second favorite one. My favorite was the Babycenter app. This also gives you information on how your baby is growing and how your body is changing throughout your pregnancy. And it also has a community of people that you can join and ask questions and everything. So this is pretty much same as the Babycenter one, only that it gives you another set of information. So I used to come on here a few times here and there. I used to just keep checking both of these apps throughout my pregnancy. As of now, I use the Babycenter app more than the What to Expect app. I just love this one. So I only used these two apps during my pregnancy, and I was quite happy with that. There was a lot of information. I could find anything that I was looking for in these two apps. Any other questions that I had, I would go on Google and search. So these two were enough for me on my phone. Next, I'm going to talk about an app that I used during my labor. Now this app is called Contractions, and you can find many such apps both in the Android store as well as the Apple store. You might be wondering if you would have enough time or the energy to use an app when you're in labor and when you're like in pain. But this app I found really helpful because it took out it basically just timed your contractions. So every time I would get a contraction, I would just press on this. It's a very simple app. All you have is a button that you have to press on when your contraction starts. So my husband had this on his phone and I had this on my phone. So I just made sure that we both were, we both knew what to do when I was in labor. So as soon as my labor started, and I was not sure if it was actually labor because my pain started early in the morning and they were quite mild. So I started timing my contractions just in case, and then I noticed that they were getting closer and closer. So this app helped me kind of see the timeline of my contractions, and when they got close enough, it actually tells you to pack your bags, and not pack your bags, your bags should already be packed by then, but it tells you to get on the road and go to the hospital. It tells you the time to go. So all you do is, there's a button in the front. There's only one button. It's very simple, and you just press on it when your contraction starts, and it keeps counting the time of your contraction. So usually the contractions last from 30 seconds to 1 minute 30 seconds. So after your contraction is over and after that pain kind of subsides, you just click on the contraction stopped button, and then say after 10 or 15 minutes you get your second contraction. All you do is press on the button. So it tells you the frequency of the contraction. So it says the time between the two contractions was 26 seconds, and the contraction lasted for 18 seconds, and the second contraction lasted for 16 seconds. So this is a very helpful app. And when I was in very active labor, like when we were on the way to the hospital, my mom had my phone and she was timing the contractions, and she told me by the time we reached the hospital, I was my contractions were about 3 minutes apart. So it was very scary. So anyway, the app was really useful for us. Another app that I found really helpful after my son was born was a baby tracker app. This was extremely helpful. This is a very handy little tool that you can have for the days immediately after your baby's birth, because as soon as the baby is born, the first few weeks, as you know, are the hardest because the baby eats constantly, sleeps a lot, and needs to be changed quite frequently. So it's very hard to keep track of all the feedings and the diaper changings and how long they've been sleeping. And every time I go to the doctor, they would ask me, how many times has he been feeding, and how long has he been feeding, and how many times are you changing his diaper, how many poops has he had in 24 hours. So all that was very overwhelming for me to write down every time. And some diapers my husband would change and some I would change. So it used to be hard to keep track of these things. So I found this handy little app that keeps track of feedings and sleeps and diaper changes and everything. So it's a pretty simple little app, even though it looks complicated here. Every time you would start nursing, you would just press nursing and it would keep track of how long your baby has nursed. Similarly, if you change a diaper, just press on this button, and it'll like keep a record of how many diapers have been changed and if it has been wet or dirty. And at the end of the day, you can review what has happened, like how long has your baby been nursing, and how many diaper changes have been there, and how long has the baby slept, and if you're pumping, you can also put in that information. So the next app that I want to talk about is the Wonder Weeks app. This actually, there's a book by the same name, Wonder Weeks. This app basically tracks all the developmental milestones and the growth spurts that your baby could be going through. I got this app when my son was about 5 weeks old, and he was going through a pretty big growth spurt, and he had symptoms like crankiness and fussiness. So I didn't know what was going on until I got this app. And this app said at around 6 weeks of age, your baby goes through his or her first growth spurt, and all those signs and symptoms are pretty normal. So that gives you a little peace of mind to know that this is a normal thing to happen and there's nothing wrong with your baby. And since then I've been using this app non-stop. So it just gives you a lot of information about your baby's development at that point in time. So there's a calendar that helps you kind of see when your baby is going to have his next growth spurt or a mental leap. So right now my son is in his 33rd week, as you can see. I don't know if it's clear, but he's in his 33rd week, and it tells me that pretty soon he's going to start another mental leap. And this has been pretty accurate for me, more or less accurate for me, in fact. And I've seen that a week here and there he goes through the things that this app mentions. Like sometimes it says around this time your baby is going to have a little separation anxiety. So when you leave the room, they may start to cry. And I noticed that around the same time my son started to fuss a little when I was leaving the room. So I've noticed that this app is pretty accurate. I haven't read the book, but the app is working out really well for me so far. So I highly recommend this app. The last app that I want to talk about is not really directly related to pregnancy, but I found really helpful, is just the basic notes app. So I used to keep track of all my pregnancy doctor's appointments and everything related to the baby on these notes. So I used to write down my weight and the baby's heartbeat and any questions that I used to have. So for every doctor's appointment, I would write down everything that I wanted to talk to the doctor about and any questions I had, so that I wouldn't forget anything. And also the baby's heartbeat, I used to make a point to ask the doctor what the baby's heartbeat is. Just it's not really clinically important, but just for my record, that used to be really a fun thing to know, oh, this is the baby's heartbeat this week, and so on. And also my weight, of course, and anything that I wanted to, I used to make a quick note on my notes app. So these are the apps that I found useful during my whole pregnancy journey. Some of these apps I'm using even now and are really helpful. So I hope you find some of these apps useful for your journey as well. You'll find these apps in both the Android store as well as the Apple store, and most of them are free. Like I said, the only thing I spent money on was the Wonder Weeks app, and I think that was completely worth it. My favorite of all of these apps, like if I had to recommend just one app for you, it would be the Babycenter app. Definitely get that app when you're pregnant. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you like more such videos, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, you take care. Bye.